Thank you, Pastor Phil and Jan, for having me here. It's great to be here. Like he said, my name is Brooke Baker, and I'm a certified fitness trainer. I got certified from the National Academy of Sports Medicine, NASM, as it's called. And I got actually certified about a year ago, but I've been working out my entire life. Excuse me. I grew up in the 80s when Jane Fonda was doing step aerobics and the leg warmers and the headbands and all that kind of stuff. And I did step aerobics throughout the 80s and 90s, and I cardioed my way through that whole era and all those decades there. So I've been working out for a very long time. So I want to say I'm not really going to talk about nutrition because even though I eat right and I know how to eat, you all seem to know how to eat as well. I'm going to talk more about the exercise side of it rather than the nutrition side of it. So I want to digress a little bit because I want to go and tell you a little bit about my fitness journey and how I got to the point that I am now. So as I said, I grew up in the 80s. I grew up doing a lot of cardio. That's what I did, and that's what we all did in the 80s and the 90s, and Jane Fonda was my hero. And it was great. I was always thin. I was never heavy, but I was never really, truly fit. And you'll know what I mean in a minute. So at about late 80s, I met my ex-husband. I was very young. I met him when I was 20 years old, got married when I was 22, and I was married for a very, very long time. And at one point, about 27 years into our marriage, my husband decided that he wanted to be with another woman, much younger than me. And it was devastating to me, devastating. I'd known this man for almost 30 years of my life, and I spent most of my adult life with him. And the breakup of my marriage was very, very difficult for me. And I went into a spiral. Our daughter was about 8 years old at the time, and she's sitting right over there. And I am one of those people that a lot of people, when they're stressed, they eat. Well, when I'm stressed, I don't eat. So I stopped eating. I stopped doing all the healthy things that you're supposed to do. I stopped exercising, I stopped eating, I stopped socializing, I stopped doing all the things that I should have been doing to keep my mind and keep my body healthy. And I got very, very thin. Like I said, I was always thin. And usually people's journeys are they go from heavy to thin. I went from extremely frail and thin to healthy. So I was very thin. And my friends were encouraging me, meet somebody, go online and, try to find somebody. Okay. So I joined a dating website, and I went on this dating website, and I got contacted by a gentleman who is a bodybuilder. And so I said, oh, he looks interesting. He looks like a big guy, he's into health, and, I was into health and all that kind of stuff. Like I said, I worked out my entire life, although I hadn't been working out for there he is, right, there he is. And there's him and I over there. So anyway, so I said, okay, I'll answer his request, and there's me when I was thin. Okay, so there's a picture of my daughter and I. You can see the bones in my back. They're just protruding out. And there's a picture of me in a bikini. You can't really tell with that picture. And there's a before and after picture. So obviously the picture on the left, I was very thin. And the picture on the right, I'm much more healthy. And actually, I'm wearing the same shirt. Okay. So, all right, so there we are. So I imagine I get contacted by this muscle dude over there. And so I say, okay, I'll go out with him. I'll see how it is, and I'll have some fun. And we started dating, and he was a fun guy. He was great to hang around with. And he says to me one day, "You want to work out together?" I said, "All right, okay, whatever. I work out. I'll work out with you." Kind of very naive at the time. And I started doing a bodybuilder's workout. Little did I know. I was lifting weights, not of obviously the amount of weights he was lifting, but I started lifting weights. I started doing a lot of reps. I started working all my body parts, my shoulders, my glutes, my biceps, my triceps. I started knowing I never did this before. I always did cardio. Cardio was what I did, and I lifted weights a little bit here and there, but cardio was my thing. I never lifted weights. But what I was starting to see after I started lifting weights really impressed me. Like I said, I worked out my entire life for years. Never ever saw the changes in my body that I did once I started lifting weights. This is our gym, by the way. Once I started lifting weights, I started seeing changes in my body. I was 50 years old at this point, okay? So when someone comes up to me and says to me, "Oh, I'm too old for this, I can't do this," and I say, that's not an excuse. That's not an excuse, and I'm not going to take that as an excuse, because you're never too old. My brother, who's 19, who's also sitting right here in the audience, is 19 years older than me. He started, when did you start lifting or working out? Just before his 70th birthday, okay? And he lost a ton of weight, okay? So once I started lifting weights, that's when I started seeing changes in my body. Not when I was doing cardio, not when I was, on the treadmill or doing step aerobics or anything like that. It was when I started lifting weights. So little did I know, when this guy told me, "Hey, you want to work out together?" Okay. It's totally changed my body. So not only did I start gaining weight, I started eating healthier, because you have to feed the muscles. You can't gain muscle if you're not eating right. And I liked the way that I looked. I liked it. It made me feel good. It made me feel strong. It made me felt empowered, because not only was my body getting stronger, my mind was getting stronger, because I'd look in the mirror and I'd see that bicep, or I'd see that sweep in my leg. I'd see my back, and I'd say, "Oh my God, look at me. You go, girl." And it empowered me. It gave me a sense of strength that I never had when I was doing any other exercise. So I am now engaged to that man that asked me out on Match.com. And we own our own fitness studio called B&B Fitness. His name is Brandon, my name is Brooke, and he likes to say it stands for Brandon and Brooke, but it doesn't. It stands for Brooke and Brandon, okay? Just clearing the air, Brooke and Brandon, okay? So, and the reason why I say muscle saves lives is a couple reasons. First of all, it saved me from going down a spiral that I didn't know what was really going to happen. I mean, I had my daughter, and I knew that I had to be strong for my daughter when my husband left. And I didn't really know how that was going to happen. Well, when I started gaining muscle and I started feeling really good about myself, and like I said, my brain just kind of took over and said, "You can do this." I kind of felt like I can take the weight of the world on my shoulders. If I can do this, if I can gain this muscle, if I can look like this, then I can do anything. I can do anything. I can take care of my daughter. I can do anything. So it really saved me from going down a bad road. So I want to talk a little bit about some of my clients, because I am a fitness trainer and I train people. And I love what I do because a lot of the women tell me, oh my God, I feel so great now that I've started working out with you. And I'll tell you a little story. So one of my clients, I've been training her for about a year now. She's a mom of one of the kids that my daughter went to school with. She just recently got into a car accident, okay? She's okay, but she's, on her back. She can't work out for a while now. However, she messaged me and she said to me, she said, Brooke, if it wasn't for you, and if it wasn't for you training me and my shoulders, she said, I'm sure of it, I would have broke my clavicle in that accident. I would have broken it right then and there. She says, but because you trained me and because I got muscles now, especially in my shoulders, she said, I'm convinced that that's the only reason why I did not break my clavicle in that accident. So when I tell you that working out is good for you, getting muscles is good for you, especially as you age, especially for women as they age, your bones, if you fall and break a bone at a certain age, it could be devastating. If you're gaining muscle, you're less likely to break those bones. And I don't care how much calcium you're taking. You've got to work the muscle. So when I say muscles save lives, they really do. They really do. Save lives metaphorically and in reality. I have another client that I'm training that she was fit all her life. She rode her bicycle miles and miles. She used to run. She used to do all this stuff. Well, because she was a runner, she hurt her back really bad. And because she was so active during her life, she had to have hip replacement. So her doctor told her, no more running. Sorry, can't run anymore. You have a bad back. So she started working out with me. And she went from not really being able to do much of anything because she had to have a hip replacement and she had a bad back and she had all this stuff that was happening to her. She's lifting, she's feeling strong, she's feeling great. I just saw her today. She says, oh my God, I feel better than I felt in a really, really long time. Thank you so much. And that's why I love my job, because I take people who feel like, maybe they're in there, they're getting older, they feel like they can't do as much as they did when they were younger, but you know what, you can. Maybe she can't ride her bike anymore as far as she can. Maybe she can't run now, but now she can lift weights. And now she looks in the mirror and she sees that she has muscles. And she feels good about herself. And I'm telling you, some people will think, oh, you're just being vain, you just want to look good. But it's not that. It's you want to feel good. When you feel good, you project that out into the world. And it helps your self-esteem, and it helps you physically, it helps you mentally. It will help you eat right because you want to keep looking the way that you look. You don't want to ruin it by eating a cupcake, right? And I guess one of the biggest questions I get from women especially, they'll come up and say to me, I don't want to get too big. I don't want big muscles like a man. And I said, that's not going to happen. Unless you're taking steroids, that's not going to happen. Lifting does not make you big. Cupcakes makes you big. Okay? So, I guess that's really all that I wanted to say. I really enjoy my job. If anybody has any questions, you can ask. I also have business cards if anybody wants to get a hold of me, if they have questions about exercising, working out, anything. So,
Brooke, thank you. I have some questions that I want to start by asking you.
Mm-hmm.
What can you expect? I mean, what is your recommendation in terms of frequency of workouts? Can you talk to us about that?
Sure. I would say if you're just beginning, I would say start 2 times a week if you're just beginning. I work out 4 to 5 times a week. So once you start getting into it, because you have 6 major body parts in your body. You can't work all 6 in one day. If you work out 3 times a week, maybe you can do 3 one day and 3 the next day, but that's a lot of body parts. So I think the ideal amount is 3 times a week. So you can work 2 body parts, 2 body parts, 2 body parts. And then, you know, with me, we usually do that. We usually work out about 4 or 5 times a week, but sometimes we work 1 body part more than once. But that's just us because we're bodybuilders. But I would say the ideal would be 3 times a week.
And how long? How long at each time?
Well, when I train, it's an hour-long training session,
Okay.
but we go boom, 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 boom. You know, there's no time for dilly-dallying and talking about the coronavirus.
Okay.
We just go.
Okay.
So yeah.
But you are doing resting in between, short rest in
Yes,
between.
short resting in between, stretching, short resting in between. Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so you have 6 major body parts in your body. You've got your biceps, your triceps, the back of your arms, shoulders, chest, back, and legs. Okay? And then you have like the tertiary ones, like your booty, you know. Brandon, my guy, he likes to work his calves. Like I said, I've done so much step aerobics my entire life. I don't need to work my calves ever again. So he works his calves, he works his forearms because he rides a motorcycle. So he's working his forearms and he's working, I don't know, he works his eyelids, I don't know, he does all sorts of stuff. But those are your 6 major body parts. So
Now, Brooke, I've been working out in the gym. I started working out, when was it? Probably last summer. I've had to take a bit of a hiatus. I recently had cataract surgery, and the doctor says no straining on you.
Sure.
So it's probably going to be next week before I'm going to be released to be doing that. But, you know, that's kind of what I was doing, 3 times a week and trying to do that. And I was noticing some phenomenal differences. Of course, you know, as I've shared with you, I lost about 90 pounds. I did discover one thing, that when I started working out in the gym, I actually started gaining weight.
yes.
Now, it was not, it wasn't that my pants weren't fitting me, but when I get on the scale, I would see that I gained some weight.
I'm so glad that you mentioned that because especially women, they freak out. I get on the scale, oh my God, I gained 5 pounds. So when I was thin, very, very thin, I was about 107 pounds in that picture. I'm now about 125. And I look so much better that I've gained the weight than when I did when I was really, really thin. Mm-hmm. So I always tell women, throw your scales out. Throw them out because that's not an accurate measure. What's an accurate measure is actually measuring your muscle or how your clothes fit, how your clothes are fitting you. That's much more of a measure than what the scale says. Yeah.
Okay, good deal. Any of you have any questions that you want to ask Brooke? Okay.
Good question.
Where are you located?
The gym is in North Hollywood. However, I live in Chatsworth, so I could come to your home as well, and I wouldn't mind doing that. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Very good. Anybody else have any questions for Brooke? Yeah, okay. Okay, here, just a second.
Could you kind of go over how bone mass, bone density with weight training, resistance training works?
Well, I don't know the technicalities of it, but I can tell you that especially as women, we lose a tremendous amount of bone mass as we age. And using weights, so when you do a lot of people do cardio because they think that's the way that they have to lose weight. And that is, if you're grossly overweight, that is a good way to lose weight. However, that does not gain any bone mass from that at all. When you're lifting, you're actually working the muscle, and you're working the bones in the muscle. So, like I said, a friend of mine who was in the car accident, she's convinced that she would have broken her clavicle if she had not worked her shoulders. My other client who has she got a hip replacement. She has problems with her back. She's doing really, really well. She sees the doctor every month or so because of her condition, and they take blood from her, and her bone mass keeps going up and up and up. So I don't want to worry about falling and breaking a hip. I just don't want to. So working out and working that muscle is one of the best things that you can do. Yeah.
Now, Brooke, I know that you had said that you were focused on exercise and not nutrition, but you do. Nutrition has become an important part. I just heard. What are some of the specific things you do nutritionally?
Okay, so when I first started working out, Brandon and I, now my guy Brandon is a big meat eater, okay, because that's where he gets most of his protein is from chicken. So we ate a lot of chicken and we cut down on a lot of carbs. Now, mind you, my favorite foods were white rice and bread and pasta and all that kind of stuff that everybody loves. I kind of cut that out cold turkey, and I started eating a lot more protein and a lot less carbs, and that also helped because you can't have one without the other. Nutrition and exercise have to go together. About 3 weeks ago, we kind of made a plan that we were going to go on a plant-based diet.
Wow.
And so we talked about it, and especially because we saw a documentary that Arnold Schwarzenegger was on yes, that he was. So once Brandon saw that Arnold Schwarzenegger was on a plant-based diet, he's like, "Let's try it." So, so we tried it. I give you guys credit. Let me tell you, that is very difficult to be on a plant-based diet. I learned about oat milk. Now that I love oat milk now. So, because I take a little bit of coffee with my milk. That's how I drink my coffee. And I drank half and half in my milk. Well, I learned about oat milk, so I had to drink oat milk in my coffee. And so we're now probably about 70-30, I would say. Uh-huh. We're about 70% plant-based, but we're still eating some dairy and some chicken, especially chicken.
But you're finding benefits from that.
Yes, we're finding benefits from that, yeah. So, but we're not big sugar, we don't eat a lot of sugar. We don't eat a lot of white foods. We don't eat a lot of white rice, bread. If we do bread, we do Ezekiel bread and stuff like that. We don't do a lot of carbs. So, okay. Yeah.
Anybody else with a question? Okay, right here.
Brooke, I've read that that weightlifting or that resistance training is good for your internal organs as well. Mm-hmm. Can you say something about that?
Yes. Well, as we age, we get fat around our internal organs. We get fatty tissue around our internal organs. And weightlifting reduces that. It reduces it, and diet as well, of course. But weightlifting reduces the fat around your internal organs. So you're healthier all around. It's so beneficial, not just your diet, but it's what you're doing, what you're lifting. You're getting rid of fat on your body. This is another thing I have to mention. When I was at my thinnest, I had more fat tissue on my body than I do now. The fat on my body, I'm at an athlete's level of fat on my body, an athlete's level. So I have very little fat around my tissues. I have very little fat on my body. So, and I feel great. I put on a pair of pants, and I'm like, look at me. All right, I'm ready. So, and I want to make everybody feel like that. I want everybody to put on their clothes and go, I look good, and I feel good, and I'm healthy. So, it's a whole big circle.
Great.
Yeah.
Elizabeth, you have a question.
Hello.
Yes. Hi.
I'm curious, do you take protein powder after each workout?
I don't, because we eat a lot of protein. We're more into eating protein
Okay.
than drinking the protein. I do every once in a while do a protein shake,
Okay.
but I would rather get the protein by eating it than by drinking it.
But that would be meat then, right? And I don't.
Beans,
Yeah.
you
okay.
know,
Mhm.
yeah, a lot of beans, legumes, yeah. But it is difficult because you'd have to, if you're doing a plant-based diet, you have to eat a little bit more to get the protein.
Right.
And if you were doing a plant-based diet, I probably would do a lot more protein shakes if I'm not eating chicken or red meat or anything like that. So,
I mean, you can combine it with almond butter. You can add all
Sure.
kinds of stuff. So.
sure, yes.
And do you have any specific exercises for people with osteoporosis?
Not specific
Or
exercises.
how soon should you increase the weight? My son always says, because my 2 kids are very much into fitness. I mean,
Sure.
weightlifting.
Uh-huh.
Actually, my daughter won figure competition.
Oh,
When
good
is
for
she?
her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're both very strong, and so they say you have to increase your weight. But at my age, increase the weight. That's hard to do. Who is helping you?
Yeah, if you
I
don't
mean,
have
if you
someone spotting you, it's hard to increase the
Right.
weight. And to be honest with you, I would say if you're not competing and you don't need to build muscle, you just want to get some muscle and maintain that muscle, you don't have to increase your weight. Just as long as you're doing it, it can't be easy for you. You can't be going, while you're lifting it. It's got to be a little bit difficult.
Right.
And what I would say is do drop weights. Do you know what that is? So what I would do is, like, say you're doing 15 reps of something.
Longer reps, maybe instead of 12, doing 15, right?
Well, let's say you're doing 15.
Oh, okay.
I would say, and let's say you do usually 30 pounds, okay? I would say do 5 at 50 pounds, do 5 at 40 pounds,
Right.
and then do the rest at 30 pounds. You drop the weight. It's
Right.
called drop weights,
Oh, yeah.
okay? So you're doing a lot of weight only for 5 reps.
Right.
And then, so when you get to the 30 pounds, you're like, oh, this is easy because you've already done like 50 pounds and 40 pounds, right? So that's what I would suggest.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Yes, right here.
Okay. So I have like this kind of like insecure with my stomach, a little bit more pop out, makes tummy marks and stuff.
You have what on your stomach?
It's like tummy marks because it's like
Tummy marks?
yeah, like
Okay.
And so is there like tips to like
What do you want to do? Get rid of the marks?
flat stomach, but in a healthy way? Because people say like if you get a flat stomach, it's not healthy because you literally like showing your ribs and all that.
Well, a flat stomach is healthy because when you have weight around your stomach, that's usually, people are more prone to cardiovascular disease if you have weight around your belly. But you don't want to, when you work a muscle, the muscle grows, right? So you don't want to work your abs too much because then your abs are going to grow. So the most important thing for a flat belly is what you're eating, what you're putting inside your system. So a healthy diet is the most important thing for a flat belly.
Any like most recommended healthy foods?
A lot of vegetables.
Okay.
Lots of vegetables. And no ice cream.
Yeah, I don't eat ice cream.
Yeah, no carbs, no carbs. No bread, no rice. Okay.
All right. Okay, Bill.
Hi. What type of cardio do you do now, and what percentage of the time do you spend on cardio versus your weights?
That's a good question. We do cardio now. Well, as I said, we work out 4 to 5 times a week. So now we do cardio about 3 times a week, and we only do about 15 minutes, and that's the end of our workout. So we'll only do about 15 minutes of cardio. And sometimes we even cut the cardio out. Sometimes we say, We've been here for too long. If there's something that we're going to cut, it's the cardio. Yeah. Because bodybuilders, you know the bodybuilders that you see on stage that compete, they don't do cardio because cardio depletes muscle. So they don't ever do cardio. But I'm not saying that cardio is bad. Cardio is good for you. But if you're trying to build muscle, just do small amounts of cardio. We do 15 minutes. So there's your cardio. Yeah.
All right, I think there's one more question here.
I'm having a total knee replacement done next month. I would like to strengthen my muscles around my knee when I get my new knee.
Mm-hmm.
What can I do right now
To strengthen
without
those muscles.
hurting too bad?
Okay, good question. Let me think about this one. I would probably, do you have ankle weights? Do you have weights to put around your ankles? Okay. Okay. I would probably buy yourself some ankle weights and maybe even just walk around the house with ankle weights on. Because when you pick up your leg to walk, it's going to strengthen that knee a little bit. Just walk around the house with ankle. And that way you're not putting a lot of pressure on your knee. You're just in your house doing your normal thing, or even if you're outside walking the dog, or if you're outside walking to your car or going to the mall or something, just put ankle weights around your ankles. So, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, good. We have another one here. Bill.
Hi. Is there a routine that we can do at home without having to go to a gym, a weight maybe with dumbbells or something?
Sure. Yeah.
Because that's what I've been doing now, but I don't know if I'm doing the right exercises.
Well, that's the problem, is if you don't have somebody there to advise you, that's, I could tell you there's tons of things that you could do, but we only have, Yeah. So I think there are tons of exercises that you could do, but you can look on YouTube. So, yeah.
Yeah, I've been to a gym. I was a member of a gym for 3 or 4 or 5 years, about 20 years ago, and I had a trainer and stuff. So I kind of know,
Right.
You want to do opposing muscles and that type of thing, but
Yeah.
probably should try to get some type of a.
Yeah, it's good to have somebody there because they can tell you your form is wrong, or you're going to hurt yourself if you do that. They can, because sometimes you can hurt yourself if you're not doing it right. Or they can push you, and they could guide you. A lot of my clients are like, ugh, and I'm like, you could do it. One more, and I push them. And having somebody there to do that, to tell you to do that, makes all the difference in the world.
Mm-hmm.
So,
That's right.
Yeah. Having somebody to work out with, and that's what started me, because I had Brandon. And him and I worked out together all the time. And having a partner made all the difference. Really did.
Fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
All right, folks, thank you so much, and thank you to Brooke.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Really appreciate your time. I was telling Brooke that maybe next time we'll get her out here with some weights and actually watch her do some bench pressing and that kind of stuff. All right. Well, thank you so much. Actually, we're hoping to try to get Brandon to come in sometime in the near future. I want